I'm Michael Oros. I'm the Executive Director for SNIA, and as already mentioned, this is only the first of hopefully many engagements, not just this year, but for years to come for SNIA with Storage Field Day. We wanted to, since our first engagement of the year here, to kick things off, wanted to give a quick overview on the SNIA organization, what we're about, who we are, cover a few of the key technical focus areas that we have on our agenda to work with the industry in 2017. And then we're going to dive right into the guts of it with into one of those topics. Of course, looking forward to June at the next Storage Field Day, we'll be covering more of our key agenda items for this year on persistent memory and swordfish. But today we'll dive in deeper on the hyperscaler storage and the work that SNIA is doing there with the industry. A little bit about who we are. We've been around for 20 years, believe it or not, this year. So looking forward to that celebration at SDC. I hope you'll be able to join us in September there. We formed the organization originally to deal with the interoperability challenges of network storage. And of course, when brilliant minds get together, eventually you solve that problem, and then you go, well, what is the next challenge that we work on? What is the relevance to the industry and to our members? Because we are a nonprofit org, standards body, we exist for the benefit of our members. So we've expanded our vision and mission over the years. Presently have the current version on there that we've ratified last year, and this is what sets the tone for what we do as an organization for the industry. You'll see in there, of course, standards, an obvious one in terms of things that we do, but we also work very closely to provide training, certification opportunities in a broader range of storage domains, not just the network storage, which originated our name. Of course, we have a wonderful board of directors, which the present members, their logos are listed. They're responsible for leading the vision of the organization, helping ensure that we continue to add value and be relevant to our members and the industry and what is happening over there. And it's interesting looking at that, given the fact that it's our 20th anniversary this year, to look back at just how much innovation has happened in the technology world overall. I was sitting down for lunch this week with one of my friends who's a futurist, and we were talking about trying to predict what's going to happen over 5, 10 years. What are the major changes? And we were jabbing at each other a bit with our own knowledge and insights into this. Then we decided to take a quick retrospective back, which fits nicely with SNIA being around for 20 years. What are the innovations that happened over the last 20 years? What companies did not exist 20 years ago? Look at companies like Google, services like Netflix, Siri, et cetera, which we've all played a key role in advancing the underlying technologies that not only advanced the industry, but created whole new industries and companies and opportunities. And we have really been a part of how people connect and interact with one another around the world. And that's exciting for me to be part of as the executive director for the organization, and look forward and invite you once again to please join us in this wonderful journey. It's exciting times in the storage industry. And this is a little bit just a picture on how we've evolved. Again, we started with storage networking and the interoperability challenges that I mentioned around that. And we've continued to add on new dimensions to the storage industry that have been challenges or developed as new opportunities. Flash, who's not talking about flash nowadays? Storage management, cloud, things again that did not exist when we first started SNIA. Object drive, persistent memory. Of course, how do we have a green perspective and continue to grow the infrastructure that's needed to fuel the new economies and do it in an eco-friendly way? And of course, security item, which ties absolutely everything. The more connected we are, the more data that we store and analyze, the even more critical security is in that aspect from the beginning, not just a consideration later down the line. A little bit more on the organization. We have 160 unique members around the world. From those, we have over 3,500 volunteers that are active in SNIA, either in developing specs, developing tutorials, delivering presentations, and down the line of leaders in the storage industry that utilize SNIA as a means of crossing the individual vendor perspectives and having a neutral perspective on what are the challenges and needs of the industry. Through our footprint, we touch over 50,000 IT professionals around the globe, which we have seen actually tremendous growth just in the last year as we've increased our focus in delivery of our content, educational capabilities, and tools online. In terms of advancing storage, some of the items here, I know many of you have heard at some point in the last 15 years, tape is dead, being replaced by drives, forget about it. Well, not only is alive and well, but growing. We're leading some of the work there on the tape side on LTFS and other specs which are being utilized today to onboard cloud to move large sets of data in an efficient way that it's amazing. So taking that as an example, of course, then you hear the other discussions over the past 5 years as to, okay, when are spinning drives going to be dead and flash is going to take over? Well, as Pat Gelsinger, since we're at Intel and former GM here, and others have stated, it's going to be decades of parallel work that will need to continue. So it's great to have not only a long-term repository of specs that some people may deem irrelevant in the short term, but the reality is the industry and the way the technology evolves, they remain relevant for much longer. And through SNIA, we give an opportunity for continuation enhancements to those type of specs that continue to add value in areas of technology and business today and into the future. Encourage you to take a look at that. I guarantee you there's relevance to every single person in this room and every single person that is on the web. Please take a look. We have done some interesting things over the last year, and I just wanted to very briefly cover what we've done to continue to be relevant to the industry and be, frankly, more open. So we've started with recognizing that cloud is driving a requirement for a new way of thinking in terms of managing storage. The volume of storage that is being shipped, the amount of data that's being created, is on a trajectory that you can no longer sustain managing that type of growth using old style tools, old style mentality, and approaches. So for that, we've enabled new ways, and in this particular case, we've partnered with DMTF. Many of you are familiar with their Redfish spec, which is a management spec for servers and other infrastructure beyond that as well. And SNIA is working on the storage aspect of that spec, an extension called Swordfish. To make it easy, We don't like to have turf wars over things. It is a SNIA spec, but we like to work with the industry collaboratively. You'll find our specs on DMTF's website. We don't like to make customers, developers go search around for these things. We like to make it easy and simple. You will find it there. You can provide feedback through DMTF directly to SNIA. We invite you to join in that process and engage in the continuation of the spec and conversations there. We also updated, I should say, our IP policy last year to better reflect the licensing terms and other things that SNIA is creating. And we took that opportunity as well to adopt a contributor license agreement. Open source is important in the world. We recognize that as much as standards are. And we needed to find a way of enabling those two worlds to not collide, but actually shake hands and be able to work with one another. So this enables outside non-SNIA members to work with SNIA and contribute actively to the work that we are doing today. So whatever perceptions you may have had of standard bodies, please understand, we're open and we're utilizing smart tools and ways of engaging with people to accelerate the work that's happening in the industry. To give you an idea, on Swordfish as an example, it took us approximately 9 months to get to 1.0 spec, which is incredible when you look in the scope of that spec and how long it took previously on other management specs to come to maturity or even their first instantiation and then mature from there. We also looked at new ways of collaborating with the industry, and we created a new membership category that we defined as technology affiliate. This enabled us to reach out to a group, SFF, that enables connectors and form factor items for storage. That enabled us and them to come under the SNIA IP policy and organization without forcing their membership to become SNIA members. They can actually retain their original SFF membership, same fees, same everything, but they now live under the SNIA governance and tools and capabilities that we can enable them to collaborate and move faster towards their own objectives. So we welcomed them into under SNIA last year, and it's been great. We've seen new members join because of the familiarity of the industry with the SNIA IP policy, which is an important aspect when working with your competitors towards a common good and trying to raise all the boats on new technologies. Lastly, I wanted to give you a snapshot of the key technical focus areas that SNIA has for 2017. Top of the list is actually something we will be presenting on next, so I won't cover that as much, but you'll see in there work that we're continuing in the green space. We're working with the EPA, which actually utilizes SNIA Emerald program in their own mission and objectives in the industry. LTFS, as I mentioned, we're continuing to evolve specs for tape libraries that are being utilized and demanded by customers today. NVM programming, this is one of the biggest changes to the storage industry in the 60 years since the hard drives really started spinning in the instantiation as we know it. It is an opportunity to not only be able to utilize memory as storage and still utilize it in file system on top of it. Microsoft, for example, and Red Hat have native support for it in the OS today. But it gives new opportunities for cutting through old layers of storage, items that were built to really optimize for a spinning media high latency environment, to now enable applications to go directly to memory, reducing latencies tremendously and really enabling the next set of application and usage models around cognitive computing, machine learning, and other things that are very memory intensive and latency sensitive for their data sets. The other interesting aspect too is, which SAP as an example has talked about publicly for their HANA services, this enables quick recovery. When you do have a failure, you no longer have to reload all your data sets or your database into memory. It's already there. You reboot and your downtime is tremendously reduced, providing benefits to your customers. And that is what we try to do through all the aspects of the SNIA work with the industry. I hope that gives you a good overview of what SNIA is about, and understanding that we're here with open arms and reaching a hand out to everyone in the industry to come with your ideas, bring us your challenges. We have the expertise, we have the motivation, and the objective right in our mission to go help you address those challenges and bring solutions faster to market than otherwise would be possible.